Hi all, welcome to the session of Introduction to Electronics Engineering under the code BESCK 104 or 204C. So whenever we hear the word electronic, what pops up into our mind? Exactly, every day for one or the other activities, we make use of one or the other type of electronic gadgets for our smooth functioning, isn't it? So whenever we make use of any electronic gadget, we are going to use, we have to have the knowledge how to use it, how to turn it on, what are the requirements basically that electronic gadget requires, isn't it? So let us take the example of our mobile phone. So we keep using our mobile phones and suddenly there is an indicator telling that the battery is getting down. What we do? Quickly we go and we are going to charge the battery, isn't it? So that for the rest of the day we can use it smoothly. So this is how each and every electronic gadget in one or the other way requires a different type of supply, isn't it? So similarly, let us take an example. You might be thinking, as an electronic student, as a mechanical engineer, as a civil engineer or as a computer science engineer, how I am going to be benefited by going through this subject of Introduction to Electronics. What is necessary for me to study this subject electronics? Yes. So let us say as a computer engineer, we know that whenever we are going to start the computer, what we are going to do the first thing? We are going to switch on the power supply. Yes. So we want the computer to start its operation or start its performance. So basically we require a source of supply. So to have an idea about that, we have to know the subject of electronics. Similarly, as a mechanical engineer, we are planning to design. In the future, you are planning to design some of the automobiles, let us say. So for an automobile to initiate or to start its operation, to start an engine, we require one or the other type of power supply. Yes. Similarly, as a civil engineer, you are going to construct a structure, a single room or a building. Then we require to illuminate whatever the building or the structure we have designed. So there we have to get a basic idea of the different types of illumination or the different methods available. So that is where this subject electronics plays a major role in the life of every engineer. So coming back to the subject of Introduction to Electronics Engineering. So the first module that we are going to discuss is mainly about the power supplies. So power supplies, as we have come across, we know that in one way or the other, we require a power supply. So you might be aware there are different types of power supply, mainly AC as well as DC. Yes or no? So, and we have a knowledge that whenever we are for a domestic purpose at our homes, we are going to make use of the AC supply. And for all the electronic gadgets that we are going to use at home, we are going to charge using that AC supply that we are going to receive from an electric pole. So that is nothing but the AC, alternating current. Similarly, not all the electronic gadgets will make use of this alternating current. Similarly, there are some different ways of or the different gadgets which we are not going to carry the wire everywhere we go. Yes or no? So what we are going to do? We have few devices which works on the DC power supply. So one way or the other, we are going to make use of a block that is known as a power supply in our day-to-day applications or in our day-to-day electronic gadgets that we are using or in the part of the design and development in our respective branches. So that is where this unsung hero of electronics, that is, we are not going to tell it everywhere, but this is the main block that should be used for any of the electronic gadgets. That is why we call it as the unsung hero of electronics. Yes, so let us see what is this unsung hero, how it's going to perform, what are the different characteristics that is required for this power supply. So let us take the example of our mobile phones itself. So we are using it Now our battery is, it is being indicated that it is going low. So what we do? We quickly connect it to the switch point or the power point at our homes or our workplaces. So what is the power supply we are receiving? Usually it is 220 volt supply. Yes. So let us say first we are going to make use of, we are going to switch it, connect it. So the voltage that we are going to make use here, that the voltage that we are going to connect is to a 220 volt, a high voltage AC, isn't it? So here we are going to make use of a high voltage AC. But do you think our batteries in our mobile phones require 220 volt? No. It depends on the different type of mobile handsets that we are using. Some of them take around 18 volts and some of them consume around 20 volts. So we don't require a 220 volt, a high voltage AC. So we need to reduce it to a low voltage AC depending on what type of gadget or what type of application we are going to use. So we have to convert the high voltage AC systems to a low voltage AC system. So there we are going to make use of a transformer, that is the step down transformer. So a step down transformer converts a high voltage AC to a low voltage AC. What about the frequency? The frequency will be the same. It does not change in case of a transformer. Now we have converted the high voltage AC to a low voltage, let us say around 20 volts. From a 220 volt, we are going to convert it into a 20 volt level of voltage. But now the mobile sets that we are going to use is made up of a battery. We are going to connect a battery, isn't it? So battery means we already know that it is a source of DC supply. So when we say that it is a source of DC supply, what do we need to do? This is the AC supply we are going to get. So we require a DC voltage. So we are going to convert from AC to a DC level of voltage. How do we convert it? By making use of a converter circuit known as the rectifier. So this rectifier circuit is the circuit that is responsible for changing from alternating signal to a steady signal. Yes, so this is the rectifier's job, is to convert a low voltage AC to a DC level. But the voltage that we are getting out from a rectifier will be always with some ripple content. So we can also call it as a unregulated DC. We have few ripple contents present in it. Now what we have to do? We have to smoothen it, because we know that whenever we say a DC source, it will always be a steady source. So steady source means there should not be any variations. We have to get a smooth waveform. So in order to smoothen it, what we are going to do? We are going to convert this unregulated, or we can call it as unsmooth DC, by making use of a suitable smoothing circuit or a reservoir circuit. Smoothing circuit or a reservoir circuit, we are going to convert the unsmoothed DC to a smooth DC. So here we are going to convert it from an unsmooth to a smooth DC. After we do this, we have smoothened the waveform, we require a particular voltage. 20 volt means exactly we require 20 volts to be applied across the battery that is present in our mobile phones. So we have to use suitable regulators in order to convert this smoothened DC to a level that is required. We require a suitable level for converting. We require a suitable level of voltage that is required for our batteries that are present in our mobile phones. So we have to use suitable voltage regulators in order to get what we say. Whenever we say a DC supply or a power supply, we say it is a regulated supply. Regulated supply means exactly the value or regulated voltage that is applied across the particular electronic gadget. So this is the general block diagram of a power supply system. So this, let me brush it up once again. Whenever we are going to make use of a power supply, the first thing that we need is a step down transformer, because for the electronic gadgets that we are going to use, we don't require a high voltage level. Depending on the suitability of that particular gadget, we need to convert it to that level of voltage. But in common, we are going to receive 220 volt to our homes. Okay, so what we are going to do, we don't require this level of voltage. So the first converter that we are going to use, so the first device that we are going to use is a step down transformer that converts the high voltage AC to a low voltage AC. Now this AC is not required because we are going to make use of a battery in our mobile. So we need to convert it into DC. That is why a low voltage AC is converted into an unsmoothed or unregulated DC, that is known as a rectifier circuit. In order to smoothen the waveform, suitable smoothing circuits. Later we will discuss, when we are studying about this, how we are going to make use of the various elements and we are going to smoothen up the waveform. So suitable smoothing circuits have to be used, as well as after the smoothened DC output is available, we require a regulated output, and that regulated output is done by making use of suitable voltage regulators. Then finally we are going to get a regulated DC power supply. This is the general block diagram of a power supply. Later now we will see what are the various components, principal components that we can use in this power supply unit. Now let us see the block diagram with making use of its principal components. So here, in order to convert the high voltage AC to a low voltage AC, we know that with the less number of turns, we have to make use of the step down transformer. So that is a step down transformer that we are going to implement in the conversion of the high voltage AC to a low voltage AC. Similarly, once the AC low voltage is available, so we have to convert that into the suitable DC voltage. We can have the rectifier circuit depending on various aspects. If we are going to make use of one single diode, we call it as a half wave rectifier. If we are going to make use of 2 or 4 diodes, we call it as a full wave rectifier. So suitable rectifier circuit has to be used in order to convert from AC to DC systems. Once we have got this unsmoothed, as I said previously, as soon as we are going to get the output from a rectifier, it will always be with a ripple content present along with it. So in order to reduce this ripple content, we have to make use of suitable reservoir circuits, or we make use of the capacitors in order to filter out and smoothen the waveforms. So we are going to get an output as a smoothed DC. Next, we are going to make use of a Zener diode. This Zener diode is going to help us to regulate the level of voltage. Up to which level that is exactly required for that particular application or an appliance, that we are going to regulate using a Zener diode. So then we are going to get a regulated DC power. So this is the block diagram which makes use or which shows the principal components that we are going to make use for a power supply. Next, we will discuss about the various types of rectifiers that we have. Thank you.